Alright, welcome to PCMGuns. This is Edgar Brother's latest PCP called the Agincourt, which is a great name. Great battle, we won, the French lost. Hurrah! Okay, Edgar Brothers are one of the big players in the UK, have been for many, many years. They're almost royalty along with a few other companies that have been around. And they were the first company to introduce Turkish shotguns and by a company called Hatsan, which was the Escort, which was pump action and later on semi-autos. And they were, as always with Turkish kit, well made and very, very cost effective. Spool forward a good few years and Edgar Brothers have now got a new brand within their portfolio called EB Arms, and currently EB Arms brings in semi-automatic and double barrel shotguns, all aimed at the UK shooter, very good price, nice options. On the airgun front, they've always had the Hatsan, and now they have this rifle along with a couple of others. This is a very traditional looking, sort of, should we say, sporter style gun, and if you don't like what the air gunners call tactical rifles, you know, with all the Car 15 collapsing stock, black this, free float 4 and all that, it makes a refreshing change. Not everybody likes them. I like both. So the rifle is a PCP, side cocking, excellent. Couldn't get on without side cocker. I hate bolt action air rifles, just not really where it should be. It's magazine fed. There's you get two magazines with the rifle, and it's in 2.2, which gives you a 12 shot capacity, and in 1.7 it's 14. Plus you get an Edgar Brothers 3 years warranty, which again is nice. Also included in the bits and pieces is a filling adapter, you know, the spigot type that goes in, Allen keys, spare washers, oil, that sort of thing. Quite nice just to have it. The action, single piece action block, split for the magazine, Picatinny rail as standard, great idea again. Barrel is 21.25 inches, quite long for a PCP. Air cylinder again is huge. It's 280cc capacity, the recommended fill of 200 bar, which is reasonably standard. It comes with a manometer at the front, and it has a rotary dust cap, which again is quite common these days. The trigger is not adjustable, but it came out of the box very nice indeed. It gives a slight two-stage pull. It has an adjustable shoe, so you can vary the height of the shoe and the angle to suit your finger, which is nice. Safety catch at the rear, manual safety. The stock is a hardwood. It's got a bit of a walnutty feel about it. It's a hardwood, and it's what I would call a sort of a sporter style. Rubber recoil pad, high comb, deep pistol grip. The comb is ambidextrous. Fore end is quite full. You get checkering or texturing here and here. Underneath you've got a 3-inch Picatinny rail, which you can take off if you want to, and QD sling studs. Again, why don't all air rifles have QD sling studs? I have no idea. It's nice to see Edgar Brothers put them on there. And of all things, it comes with a grip pod, and if you know your rifles, you know a grip pod is basically a forward grip. You see it's on like an AR-15 or an L85 British Army bullpup. Big long grip, which is good for freehand shooting. And if you press a button on the top of the grip pod, then two bipod legs pop out, so you've got the support. It's a funny thing to put on an air rifle, but it's there. Don't see why not. Edgars also say that the guns offer a shot count of between 100 and 150, obviously depending on caliber, and they say that between that figure the gun will stay roughly at 11 foot-pounds of energy, which is pretty good. It's a pound under the legal limit, which is good, so good enough for rabbits and all sorts of things. The gun is also unregulated, so again, for the price, then I'm not surprised. So price-wise, it's $4.99 recommended retail by Edgars. I like the butt. It's high comb, ambidextrous, rubber recoil pad, which you don't need, but it sticks it into your shoulder for shooting. Nice big pistol grip, lovely grip here. Texturing's nice. no real complaints at all. So it reminds me of my HW110 a little bit. And what I'm not so struck on is the fact that the stock is made of one piece of wood, and they've machined all this area out, and there's lots of room here for a glove finger, so I'm not complaining about that. This is very, compared to the rest of the stock, this is very slim and fragile, and there's the possibility of doing damage to it, and that would concern me. I would have sooner seen them just machine it out, forget this bit here, and put a metal or a decent strong polymer strap in its place. The action is really nice, side actions are great, so I wouldn't give you tuppence for bolt action. All this crap out the back here is just annoying, but this is lovely and smooth and silk. You can feel the pellet going in easily, there's no pressure, there's no effort. Safety catch to me seems a bit arsed about face, if you pardon my French. Safe is forward, rear is fire. As a rifleman, logically, for me, it should be the other way around, so this should be safe, and when you're in the aim, just flick your thumb forward and flick it to fire. That's how they do it. It wouldn't put me off buying it, but I just think perhaps it hasn't been thought out quite as well as you might think. The magazine aperture is nice and wide, mags load easily. What you have here, if you can see, there's like a spline here or a locating lug, and there's a slot in the front of the breech block. So when you actually put the magazine in, it's round end first, you align this spline with a slot, push it through, and it stops, and when it stopped, there's a magnetic button in there which obviously connects to a piece of steel in the action, which holds it secure, but easy peasy, comes straight out. On the last round, after it's been fired, the action will not go forward, which is great, so no problem double loading, which can be a bit of a pain in the bum. Picatinny rail speaks for itself. You know, dovetail mounts are really a thing of the past, and it gives you so much more latitude for scope mounting. Fore end's nice, but the texturing is nowhere near as sort of obvious and aggressive as it is in a butt, and I'd like to see a bit more there if you're shooting offhand. There's the Picatinny rail underneath the 3-inch section, which I've clamped a bipod to. You can also see the two QD swivels, again, nice thing to have. The barrel is interesting. All this is just a shroud, that's all it is. And at the end, there's knurled end here, you have the front section is threaded 1/2x20, so no problem with moddies, but this rear section is removable. Comes right off, as you can see, and if you look, the shroud is retained by this piece, but also you can actually get the barrel and you can move it a little bit by hand. So I would say that if this is not tightened up properly, then you're going to have problems with actually, because this is the thing that applies attention to the barrel and the shroud. So even if you're like sort of a quarter of a turn out, there's movement that'll bugger your groups up, but it's worth bearing in mind. Just think about it. Do you really need to take this rear bit off? I don't think you do, and I would be very inclined to put some very light Loctite on there so it just keeps it solid and tight. Manometer at the end, I don't like them there. I don't like looking down the barrel and filling, but again, no big deal. But overall, it seems pretty good so far. Okay, loading magazine, if you're used to a rotary drum mag for PCP, reasonably similar. First round goes in backwards, as in skirt first. So what first you do, there's an arrow here, pull it all the way around, take the tension, then skirt first, drop it in, like so. Then you need to keep your finger there so it doesn't drop out, and then you allow this to move backwards and drop the rest of the pellets in nose first. That's one. Go around again. If it hangs up, give it a little bit of a shake, like so, and then the last one in there, and then you just clip it back like that. Be aware that this round, though its own tension, can fall out. So filling is dead simple. Got your adapter in here, you roll the cover, open the port, stick the spigot in, turn your bottle on, Usual thing, fill it up, shut it down, bleed it off, and you're full. As a firearms shooter, what I love about these PCPs is don't wear earmuffs. They don't get hot in the same way as a rifle when it's burning propellant to make things happen, and there's something about them, just such an easy thing to shoot. So I've got a full 12 round mag, flip it in, safety's on, safety's off. Empty, action held open. Okay, testing over. What do I think? Well, I've got a couple of caveats that, essentially speaking, for the money, it's a pretty cracking rifle. Stock's nice, so I've said about the thin trigger guard. That's the way they make it. Just be aware of that. Trigger comes set 1/2 to 2 pounds, so no complaints there. You can't adjust it, but it doesn't really matter because it's a good break. That works well. I like them including the Picatinny under there, Picatinny here. Caveat on the barrel, this second knurled nut, make sure it's tight, otherwise it'll allow the barrel to drift, and that's going to cut down on accuracy pretty much. Feels well. This is a proven system with a rotary collar and a spigot, no problems there. We had a bit of a problem on shooting it because my chronograph, which is really a firearms chronograph, could not pick up the pellets no matter how I jigsaw about with it. So I can't give you velocity figures or energy figures. All I can say is that 25 yards it was shooting 0.784 of an inch, which is not too bad. I was using Superfield pellets from RWS, which are 15.9 grains, and I had some Narinka pointed pellets. They're slightly lighter, but they didn't shoot anywhere near as well as the RWS. So I reckon that you could probably shoot better and muck about with the pellets, but 784 is not too bad. Right, on to the, I mentioned in the start of the article about the energy drop thing, where they say the Agincourt will shoot between 100 and I think 140, 150 shots before the energy or drops below a certain figure. I found I got between 65 and 68 shots out of it where it was shooting flat and level, and that came in at about 110 bar. So to shoot, they call it 70 shots as a ballpark figure, I went from 200 bar to 110 bar to shoot 70 shots. So their estimation is a little bit over the top, should we say. But I also shot it on, you see in the steel target, which is a resetter. You pop the top, hit the bottom, it resets, and that was doing fine. If you notice, the last shot when I went to reset it, it hit the reset gong, but it didn't have enough energy, and that's where I sort of drew the line, as in power drop. So, you know, I reckon to be on the safe side, if you're out hunting with this thing, you want to say, yeah, maximum 60 before I have to top it up again. Mags fill easily. I think the one overall impression I get, but then again I come as a firearms man, it is a very heavy rifle. It's 8.25 pounds before you put a scope on it and a moddy. You know, I wonder if you know, something with a shorter barrel might have been good. The only problem is you'd have to reduce the length of the, or the capacity of the air cylinder, and that would probably have an interesting effect on your energy and shots for charge as well. But It depends what you need it for. I mean, if you're down the club just shooting, this thing is more than capable in the right hands with the right pellets. So, and it's for $4.99 retail, so you can't really complain. If you're looking for a sort of entry-level PCP to get into it that's not going to break the bank, then the EB at Agincourt is one to look at, really is. Okay, thanks very much for looking in. If you enjoyed that, tell your friends. If you want to speak to me, tell me, as usual. pmoore.shootingsports@gmail.com. And as ever, support the channel and like to hear your comments. Okay, safe shooting.